from the top.
Okay.
And I do recommend if you're looking for different project updates, we recently rebuilt the entire website and thankfully secured the domain. It's the exact tagline I mentioned earlier. The front porch of the South is our domain, and that's a whole rebuilt website for this project as well. Tell you what's going on. Thank you all much. Until next time.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So I apologize to anybody watching on YouTube. What you have missed was the roll call. We were all present. You missed our moment of silence and pledge where we recognize veterans. You missed the approval minutes, which was approved 100%. And Mr. Weber from Riverfront Commons just spoke to us regarding the, not Riverfront Commons, South Bank Partners, just spoke to us about the upcoming projects on the Riverfront Commons. So I do apologize that it wasn't broadcasted, but we will try to do better. Next up is the moment where we are open to public comments regarding legislative items on the agenda. So anybody in the audience is allowed to approach council administration at the podium with any of the upcoming moments on tonight's agenda. Go ahead and close that. Now to the ordinances and the readings. First will be the second reading of ordinance 2024-19.
An ordinance amending sections 7.0, 10.15, 10.16, 10.17, and 10.18 of Chapter 154 of the City of Dayton, Kentucky zoning code to regulate the operation of liquor stores, vape shops, and medical cannabis operations in the city.
This is the second reading, so I have a motion to accept.
Move to accept.
Member Volter's made the motion to accept. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Kelly's made a second, which opens up for discussion. Mr. Fawcett, any comments?
No, this is, I discussed last meeting, this was done because we felt that our downtown area should not, these were not compatible uses for our downtown business district. So we decided to restrict them just to the neighborhood commercial area where we already have a vape store.
Comments are still open for council.
So for example, in section 1015, the permitted uses lists paint and wallpaper store, et cetera. The three asterisks, that indicates that the previously approved conditional uses are still included in that, correct?
It would be anything previously done with the grandfathered in.
Okay.
So there was a vape use that was conditionally approved in the past that they're grandfathered in. So there's only one, and that's next to Liquor King. Second question.
Okay, because it starts with double R,
What's that? Yeah,
but there's A, B, C, D all the way through
that's why
there.
the three asterisks there, that shows you that there's a missing part. The three asterisks are basically saying there's more stuff here, but we're not going to repeat it
Okay.
all here.
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Neri. Any questions, comments, concerns in council?
So I think you said it before, but what are the parameters of where they're not allowed and where they are allowed?
So they're not allowed in the central business district, which runs from Maine to just to McKinney. They're not allowed there. The only place they're allowed is the 2-block area, which runs from O'Fallon to what is that Walnut, which is where the dollar store is and where the Liquor King shop is. And there's a vape store in that property already.
So is the rationale so we don't load it up with liquor stores and vape stores?
We
That
still-
where they're going to be, at least we're going to limit that there's not going to be dotting the entire strip.
The rationale is that the central business district is really not conducive to liquor stores. You know, they don't have any large parking lots. They aren't appropriate because there's a lot of houses nearby. We just felt that this was not a uses that were appropriate in our downtown area.
Any other comments from council? All right. Roll call, please, Ms. Benny.
Member Lovins?
Aye.
Member Wyrick?
Aye.
Member Volter,
Aye.
Member Neary,
Aye.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
The ayes have it. That's the only second reading we have on our agenda this evening. Next up are two first readings, and the first one would be first reading ordinance 2024-20. Ms. McKinney, please.
An ordinance amending sections 150.15 through 150.18 of the City of Dayton, Kentucky Code of Ordinance to reflect the city's contract with the Campbell County Planning and Zoning and Building Inspections Department to provide zoning and building inspections services to the city and to impose civil penalties for violations of these sections consisting within section 38.15 of the code.
So this is a cleanup matter that we're bringing before you tonight. This ordinance was originally adopted in 1993 and updated in 2005. The city staff did all the building and zoning inspections in the city. We now contract, and we have for several years, with the Campbell County Zoning and Building Inspections Department to provide these services to the city. So this ordinance updates the fees that are paid for these services to be consistent with what Campbell County is currently charging. Fee rates in our current ordinance haven't changed in 14 years, and they don't reflect the current rates. So we wanted to make sure that it was clear that the rates are now being done through Campbell County. The ordinance also allows us to enforce our zoning and building infractions through both the Campbell County Planning and Zoning Enforcement staff as well as the city's code enforcement department staff. And then we can use our code enforcement process that we have in place in the city to enforce those code violations. So that's what this is all about.
Thank you, Mr. Fawcett. Again, that's just a first reading, so you guys have a whole month to read about it and come up with questions.
I'd like to ask a question at this point before we get to a second reading.
But we have 30 days. Okay. Yeah.
I can take that long. This includes permitting for electrical permits, for electrical work in the house. But there's no mention of HVAC or plumbing permits
Those
needed.
are all through the state. The electrical permits have a local electrical inspector that works with the county, but plumbing is through the state. And I think HVAC, it's all included in what Campbell County does for us. They handle all that.
But permits are still required for
Yes.
that work.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's both part of the building permit process. They inspect those particular services, those particular cracks or workmanship as part of the building permit process. But there are separate electrical inspections through the state, which is the state electrical inspector, and same thing with plumbing.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Neary. Any other questions? All right. Next up, first reading of ordinance 2024-21. Benny, please.
An ordinance granting franchises to Insight Spectrum Mid-American LLC, locally known as Charter Communications, and Cincinnati Bell Extended Territories LLC, DBA Alta Fiber Connected Services, to operate a cable communication system within the territorial limits of the city of Dayton, Kentucky, and authorizing and directing the mayor of the city to execute franchise agreements between the city and Spectrum Mid-American LLC and Cincinnati Bell Extended Territories to provide and operate cable communication systems within the city.
So you may remember during the last couple city council meetings, we passed an ordinance listing bids for these services. We require, by the Kentucky Constitution, to enter into franchises with anybody that are using city streets, sidewalks, and private property for services such as cable TV, internet, phone services, the case is here. Currently, there are two companies that serve Dayton and provide these services: Insight Spectrum Mid-America, locally known as Charter Communications, and Cincinnati Bell Extended Territories LLC, doing business as Alta Fiber Connected Services. The franchises for these companies expired and they need to be renewed, and that's what this is all about. These companies pay telecom taxes to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. They used to do separate franchise fees to the city. The state changed this probably 15 18 years ago. And now the funds go through the state, and some of those taxes return to the city for that right to use our street, sidewalk, and other public property for their equipment. So this is the first reading for both Cincinnati Bell and Representative Cincinnati Bell's here, Patrick Hughes, and I don't know if you want to say anything, Patrick, and also for Charter Communications. The next meeting will also have a separate franchise agreement, first reading with Duke Energy, which provides gas and electric services in our city. So, Patrick, is there anything you want to add?
Any questions for any members of the communications groups that are here tonight? Okay, again, this is just a first reading, so we have a whole 30 days to look over that and come up with more questions. Unfortunately, the next ones, we don't. We're going to make motions on them tonight, which would be Order Resolution 2024-25 Romeo. Ms. Bainey, please.
An order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Dayton Independent School District to have the city invoice and collect pilot payments associated with certain real estate located in the Manhattan development area that have been or will be financed with industrial revenue bonds.
So, as you know, there are some projects on the Manhattan Boulevard that have been developed through industrial revenue bonds. And when they have industrial revenue bonds, tax bills aren't set up, but instead a thing called pilot payment is sent out. Payments in lieu of taxes is sent out to the developers. So in the past, the city sent out our pilot payments and the school district sent out theirs. So when we talked to the school district and they were interested in us putting their pilot payments onto the city pilot bills. And so this agreement allows us to do that. So instead of them sending out separate ones, they will be sent out with our pilots, clearly indicating that a portion of that pilot payment will be for the schools. The school's going to pay the city 1.5% of its aggregate pilot amount to provide these services. That's the same amount that the Campbell County Sheriff's Office charges the school district to send out and seek payment for their taxes. So it's the same amount that they get charged by the Campbell County School District. By the Campbell County Sheriff's Office. So in this case, the school district has already approved this agreement at their last meeting, so we now need to approve it so we can move forward with this in the future.
Do I have a motion to accept Order Resolution 2024-25 Romeo?
Motion to accept 2024-25 Romeo.
Member Volter has made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Neiman's made a second, which opens it up for comments and questions.
So this means right now, the property tax bills, we send them out for the city taxes and the trash. The school tax, the school property tax is included in the letter that we get from the sheriff's department.
So it's confusing. They're two different things. Taxes are only sent, property taxes bills are only sent out on those properties that are owned by individuals. These properties are not owned. These properties, the land is owned by the cities, and there is an agreement with the developer after a certain period of time that they go into their possession. But during the time that the IRB is in effect, we cannot send tax bills because we own the land. So we have to send pilot bills instead.
Understood.
So the tax bills, so there's a lot of property on Manhattan Boulevard and in the city that aren't done with IRBs. They're just owned by the people who live there, and they get tax bills. They get tax bills from the schools through the Campbell County Sheriff's Office.
Correct.
Get tax bills from the city by us. So this is only for these properties that are being used, that are developed through IRBs. So they're getting a pilot payment instead of tax bills, same amount. It's the same charges that we get with the tax bill, and that's what we are collecting for the schools, just the pilot payments, not the tax bills.
So on these IRB properties, this pilot payment, pilot tax, currently it's on the sheriff's notification.
No, currently they've been sent to the city, the schools have been sending out their own pilot bills. The sheriff's has nothing to do with it, because they're not tax bills.
Okay,
They're a contractual agreement
gotcha.
under the IRBs. That basically says instead of paying taxes, you're going to pay a pilot. And that's because the city technically owns the land during the 30 years that the IRB is in effect.
Understood. So, and for these IRB properties, their pilot payment tax will be included as a line item on the property tax notification that they get from the city.
The pilot.
Pilot.
It's not just the school district, but it's the health district. All of those are identified and they're paying just like they would a tax bill, but it's a pilot, a separate contractual agreement rather than a tax bill.
Understood.
Great questions. It's a complicated thing. Good questions. Any other questions since we have the time? All right. See the motion from Member Volter and a second from Member Neiman. No more questions. Roll call, please.
Member Lovins,
Aye.
Member Wyrick,
Aye.
Member Volter,
Aye.
Member Neary,
Aye.
Member Neiman,
Aye.
Member Kelly.
Aye.
You guys have it. Last one for the day, last one for the month. The order resolution 2024-26 Romeo. Ms. Benny, please.
An order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, authorizing the mayor to enter into an interlocal agreement with the Campbell County Fiscal Court and the City of Bellevue, Kentucky, to participate in shared police social work program operated by the Campbell County Police Department and paying for the cost of participating in this program from money the city has received from settlement agreements the Kenton County Attorney General has entered into with pharmaceutical companies.
So for about a year or so, we've been receiving payment from various pharmaceutical companies that were sued by the Kentucky Attorney General, and also other states have sued them as well because of opioid sales and some of the practices they undertook to sell those. So the problem is that the settlement has very restricted terms on what you can use those funds for. So we've been looking for ways to use those funds. And Campbell County approached us a couple months ago and said, well, we have a way that you can use those funds, and it's by hiring a social worker. We're already doing and using our funds for that, and we're offering this to other cities. And that you can, what you basically will hire another social worker for Bellevue and Dayton and use your funds to pay those salaries to help with these programs. So this is something that's being done in other cities, and the chief's aware of this, and I think they're very supportive of it, is that social workers are now helping police departments deal with the social service issues that police departments are well equipped to deal with. Police officers are trained to be police officers, not social workers. And so what this does is that it allows us to get police back on the street and allow social workers to do the follow-up that's necessary that sometimes police officers can't do for the other responsibilities and duties they have. So what this program will allow us to do is to connect individuals and families with resources to support intervention, treatment, and recovery, particularly regarding opioid use disorders, substance use disorders, and provide community support and referral services to family members supporting these individuals. It will also help with mental health issues, interpersonal violence issues, child and elder abuse and neglect, financial hardship, incompetency, homelessness, and human trafficking. One social worker will be assigned to Bellevue, and they will work with the Campbell County Police Department, but they will solely work in these two communities. Several cities, including Alexandria, Erlanger, already provide these services. They say they're very effective in helping address these issues. So I mentioned one of the benefits is getting officers back on the street sooner rather than later. Social workers have training, knowledge, and connections to social service agencies that will help address the underlying substance abuse, mental health issues, which will hopefully reduce crime and human costs associated with these problems. So we think that the settlement money we've received so far will allow us to fund this program for 2 years. Both Bellevue and Dayton have got about the same amounts. That's about $100,000 a year. We've got will be $50,000 each of us for 2 years. We have just about $100,000, but more money's coming in, so we may have enough for a third year. And then for 3 years, We'll have to decide if we like the program, we should find funding some other place for it. But for the first 2 years, probably 3 years, we should get enough funding through these settlement amounts to fund this program. So a lot of information. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
When we first received this money, I went to retrieve it and work to pay off an ambulance. Because I was like, we're running the wheels off these ambulances on these opioid issues. And I was shot down. They're like, you can't use it for that. You can only use it for these certain amount of things. This seems like a great use of, in my opinion, of funding to give us a 3-year heads up on this program. Working with these other cities and giving us this extra man or woman power into that position. So I think it's great.
And it's been very effective. Other cities have done it.
So it's one social worker between Dayton and Bellevue?
One social worker full-time, or full-time between the two cities. They think, based on their experience in doing it throughout the county, that would be more than enough to service our needs.
This is going to be an on-call position or 9 to 5, Monday through Friday?
There will be on-call issues, and they will work with the police department when the police need them. And so they will not go into places by themselves. They'll go to the police assisted. They do develop a relationship afterwards. They may, be there without the police, but they will always be there with the police on, facing those issues. They'll work with family members as well. They'll work with social service agencies, and they'll make connections that our police officers just really don't have the time and the training to do. So, yeah.
Okay.
That is order resolution 2024-26. Romeo, do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make that motion.
Member Neiman's made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Member Lovins has made the second, which again still opens us up for conversation. If anybody wants to have any further conversation.
I think it sounds great. We talked about this years ago.
Anyone else? Roll call, please.
Member Lovins? Oh, you should run that twice. Member Wyrick?
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Sorry, Member Kelly, you're on the page.
Aye.
Thanks.
Guys have it. I was incorrect. I did not see this last one. It's kind of small on the bottom here. We have one more order resolution. This one is 2024-27 Romeo. As many places.
Order resolution of the City Council of the City of Dayton, Kentucky, identifying, authorizing, and approving a list of the roads in the city's road system.
So this is a request the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet approved in the Kentucky Area Development District that we provide a certification about the number of streets and what the streets are in the city, just street maintained, cities maintain streets. And so this lists those, and also there's a map that shows my head by Jaeger, go through and make sure that the list includes everything in the city, including some unnamed alleys. So this just needs to be given to the KYTC. So when they enforce municipal road aid funding program, that they know the streets that we're using it for are in fact city streets, and that funding is legitimate. So that's what it's for.
Do I have a motion to accept 2024-27 Romeo?
I'll make the motion to accept 2024-27R.
Member Kelly's made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Member Neiman. Conversations, questions, concerns? Roll call, please.
Member Lovins? Member Wyrick?
Aye.
Member Volter?
Aye.
Member Neary?
Aye.
Member Neiman?
Aye.
Member Kelly?
Aye.
Thank you.
The ayes have it. Next on the docket will be tonight's department director's monthly reports. Here at Dayton, we always go first with the ladies. Ms. Patterson. Because it's rookie. He's got to wait it out.
Let's see. You have a copy of my report. I just want to say I also am excited about the social worker because I know the police department, they deal with a lot of a lot of stuff and same as myself sometimes, but it would be nice to have somebody on staff that, you know, has a lot of contacts and things like that.
And I see the enforcement department working closely with the social workers too. A lot of the
Right.
stuff you deal with, you see,
Yeah.
that come in handy.
Yeah, and the schools, I mean, you know, we work close with the school and things like that on issues. So it'd be nice to throw another person in the mix that, you know, kind of has a degree in that,
Right.
knows what they're really doing. But yeah, so other than that, Bill's going to start doing the sidewalks here. We're going to wrap up the grant process and figure out the legalities and all that fun stuff on that. Other than that,
What was it?
the sidewalk grant that we're gonna,
That whole
kind of-
grant program is ready to get going.
yeah,
And we've done all the applications been done. We've created a handout for individuals who want to participate in it. So we should be able to start that here in the next month.
and of course we'll give them through, you know, we'll give them a little bit of time with the weather and things like that. We know it's winter time and all that type of thing. So it'll be a little bit nicer that they'll have a little bit of an extended period to get things together. So,
Under that program, anybody who's cited by code enforcement for sidewalk issues will have priority in that program for funding. And that's a 50-50 split up to $2,500 by the city for sidewalk improvements.
and I think that's about it. If you,
Before Casey, please step down, I just want to mention that today, Casey and I, as we do regularly, we're at the Campbell County Courthouse for 2 foreclosure sales in the city of Dayton that we pushed through because of code enforcement liens. There were 2 properties on 7th Avenue.
7th Avenue, same block,
That had been vacant for years.
years.
I mean, 3 years at least, one, maybe longer than the other. It's taken a long time because one was dead, they could find the heirs, and so we finally got through the process.
Long process. It's been a long process.
I finally see these, and it's remarkable the number of people that are bidding on these properties and what's going on in the city. because
Yes.
of code enforcement. This is just 2, probably 50 we've gone through this process the last 3
Mhm.
years. And so one property that it's just been trashed inside and has been untouched in years, sold for $68,500. Another one sold for $100,000, and people are going to come in and put money into those and probably sell them for 2 times or 3 times that amount. So this department has done an amazing job turning the city around by addressing these properties, and today we're a good example down there. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that was along the one house. I know it's been vacant. I mean, it's been vacant since I've been here and probably 3-4 years prior to that. And also, you know, Public Works has been pulled off of jobs to maintain the properties, from cutting the grass, cutting the weeds. You know, there's trees that need trimmed on the one property. So they've done a great job maintaining the property. And so that, you know, not only is it, you know, bringing somebody into the city that's going to, you know, boost the properties, it's also
Right.
freeing them up from, you know, their time in the summer maintaining. And so, yeah, it's
The great thing
exciting.
From a financial perspective is that when the property sells that money, we only not get our liens that we had on the property, but also all the attorney's fees and all the expenses that went into that long litigation all get paid too. So that rolls back into our funds, and we use that again. It's a revolving fund in a way. We get that money in, we use it again to tackle the properties that are private properties in the city.
Yeah. It's a process, but it works. A long process sometimes.
Well, I'm sure the neighbors appreciate it too.
Yes, yes, yes. There's actually 3 right now on that block of 7th. One just recently sold, and it was vacant for a long time. The homeowner passed away, and the daughter has sold the property. They're working on that. And then the other house is a couple doors down, and the other one's across the street. So
And we
The
have one
whole-
there- one
that
there
whole
in the same
block.
neighborhood is the problem. It's sold Friday, I think. So,
yes,
been a long time problem property in the neighborhood, and that's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Penetration in that little part of the city.
That'll be great. The neighbors will be thrilled with that.
What is that, the 600 block
Of what?
of 7th?
It is yes.
Okay.
600 block. hmm And the 600 block of Barry, there's one that's being sold also. So, yeah. Things are moving along. Anybody have any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Patterson. Mr. Lucas. Leaves that time of year. It's leaves. It's that time of year.
Yep, leaves. That's like number 3 on my list. And we've been doing some potholes around town. Right now we're working on the river walkway. We're cutting that back, and I put in the ditch to get the water out down there at the discharge area.
So
Um,
the Navy tree came and they went back so far, but
Yeah.
our crews are not coming in, doing the really hard part, which is down in the rocks and getting them all the way down the river on the hillside by the house.
Right. And when we start spraying, we spray it 2 or 3 times the first year, and then spray it a couple times every year. We may not have none of that.
So,
Yeah. Yep,
What are you
and-
saying when you say that? Dayton tree?
what's that?
Davy.
Davy.
Davies
Davy.
Tree
Davy
Service.
tree.
Davy tree. Okay.
Yeah.
DAVY, they're a national tree.
Yeah, they're a big outfit.
And he hired them to do several of the areas along River, including Bellevue. the
And
park
parts in
area,
Newport, I
and
think.
They're doing it here as well. And they also did it in Newport, by the chart house. You might see that all those trees are gone. And you now, as part of the trail, you can see the river when before you couldn't see it with all the trees and brush.
And the bathrooms at the park are closed now. They've been winterized. Sergeant Park's been winterized. I called Duke Energy. They set me up with a guy to possibly get the park some utility poles. Did that come through?
I'll check with Jason tomorrow.
They were going to get, the minimum is at least 30 utility poles, and they could be at any length. So they're going to use them for Sergeant Park. And Christmas decorations. The snowflakes has got to be up by before Thanksgiving. And then there was one other thing.
Rick, I will talk about the asphalt. Eaton came and did a minimum from 2nd to 4th.
Right.
Which is our worst street. It was really in bad shape and it's repaired. And also, River Point. had an area
Section in River Point.
Which was a kind of severe, and then, where else, somewhere near.
The circle up on Cottonwood, I think it is,
Yeah,
Cottonwood.
and we
Yeah.
repaired that.
And then they added some more curbing on Dayton Pike, which they still got to come back and finish.
We've also taken the rick rack off of Dayton Pike that was installed during the sidewalk. We're now putting grass in there and it'll be easier to maintain.
Right.
We'll have a tendency to roll, the rocks roll down on the sidewalk, which is a hazard for people walking on them. So that was all been completed this past month as well.
But other than that, we got plenty of work to do. So, any questions?
So if we have leaves.
Yeah.
Put them in the street.
Yeah,
City,
call them, put them in the street.
Your team will come and.
Right. Mhm. We've already had a lot of calls. We got 2 areas that call in or do it online, however they've been doing it. It's like every other day. So, but they have a lot of leaves up there,
Up there.
up on Fairview.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a heavy leaf area. Other than that, no
No
question.
question for Mr. Lucas? Thanks, sir. Chief Halfhill, Police Department, please.
Good evening. You guys have my report for the month. Okay month, I guess, for us. Not too busy, not too slow. I just want to thank you for the order resolution for the police social worker. To give an example, I think we had something last week. So we're the end of the bus line. And a female was on the bus, got off the bus from Ohio, not from here. Took Sergeant Link Kugel off the street for 6 hours. Just just trying to have getting those connections and getting the proper people to respond would obviously put us back on the street quicker because it does take a lot of time for our officers to sit at the hospital, wait for them to be transported to sun behavior. So this is great for us. So it's something I've been wanting for a long time. We just never had the money to do it. And now that we do, we have the funding. It's going to be a great asset. So thanks, Jay, for that. And the mayor. Halloween was very good, productive. I was shocked at the amount of kids that were actually out. So I had numbers of 200. For me, I had, we were giving out glow sticks and candy. We had bags, safety bags, and glow bracelets and things like that. And we were out by a little after 7 already. We went through 200. So better prepare next year. We'll go for 300 and we'll see what happens. So hopefully we'll have better weather. We can go at the monument like we were planning on this year. So other than that, if anybody has any questions, reference any parking issues or
Chief,
any numbers?
That you and I are sitting on the parking appeals board.
Yes.
And every month, when parking appeals are issued, people can appeal those to the board. And this past month, we had a record, we had 11 appeals. We had a hearing here in this chambers. And, so there's a lot of parking tickets are being issued, and a number of them were for being living in Kentucky without a registry. The place who always wondered about that. Why don't we do it? And we issue a lot of tickets for that. And I would say at least half of those appeals were here. Some were legitimate. We have students here part time. Others were not. So that's what that process is set up to do. So I know people were saying, why aren't they bidding for this? Well, our police officers are. We see a lot of these appeals. I'm not saying a small minority of them appeals, so, but 11 is our record. This week.
Yeah, probably get every month that goes by. I think knowing there's an appeal process, which is fine. The number might be greater. The number I think that we had for the domicile so far this year has been 37, written 37 tickets for that. Total 587 tickets have been written by the police officers here. I think a majority has been expired registrations. That has been the biggest one with 313. So they are out there writing tickets. They're getting the domicile, and people are fixing their registrations and
I would say the two biggest ones,
transferring.
appeals, I don't know what are issued, but are inoperable vehicles, people who have cars that sit on the street for weeks and months, and the registration, you're living in Kentucky, they haven't registered your car here. Those are the ones we get the most appeals on. So.
Right.
I actually have a question now on the social worker program. And I understand, I think it's great, especially like you said, to get the police officers that aren't trained in social work, free them up for other things. But with the fire department, and I have noticed this on the fire department report for years, on the squad report, the second highest cause for the nature of runs is falls. And 226 so far this year. And I know my wife worked for Northern Kentucky Area Development District in coordination with the senior services. They have fall prevention programs. Can we use this social worker in an event where you have a frequent caller that falls all the time and we're always calling the medic out? That's a fire department issue. They wouldn't necessarily call the police. Could we use that resource and maybe start addressing that issue? Because a lot of these people just don't know.
Right. It can be. I mean, them knowing that resource is available, if it is a neglect issue, something pertaining to that, then they can come in and help with adult protective services and, go that route to get them the help that they need if they are home alone
Right.
or, like I said, being neglected. So that's also somebody who can benefit from it.
I think this is mostly people, Captain Schaefer, you could probably address this. The falls are mostly older people that live alone.
Older, not necessarily living alone. It's a graphic call. You have your occasional ones who may couple runs on them. Really. People not realize that you're getting up there and second, we're not as,
But it's not that many cases of neglect. Okay. I'm just wondering if we could use that asset in coordination with the fire department, even though it's an opioid.
Yes, that's the question. So I think we have to make sure that it falls within the parameters of what money is allowed for. And so if it's, it probably might be there, but I don't want to say yes. until I
Okay.
research that and talk to Campbell County about it and see if they feel that's appropriate.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Chief Hatfield? Thanks, sir. Have a good evening.
All right, thank you.
I always joke around with Chief Hatfield and previously Chief Atkins on who gets to go first so the other could leave if they have to. That's why I'm very happy to welcome tonight interim Chief Captain Brent Schaefer to the podium for the first time. That's why you're going last.
I'm going last. Thank you, I appreciate
Just a
it.
little rookie breaking, you know?
I recognize most everybody. For those of you who haven't been formally introduced, I'm Brent, filling in for Chief Atkins. You know, he left the department in good shape, so it's been not a difficult transition, but there's always something new and learning, getting my feet wet and making that. So, but just like he did, my door's always open, my phone's always on. So feel free to reach out, questions, comments, concerns, and we'll see if we can get through them. As far as past month, it was Fire Prevention Month. We had 4 preschools come through. We always love it when they come to Firehouse. We went to 1 daycare, Halloween, everything else. You guys have my report. So any questions or concerns in that? All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Captain. Have a good evening, sir. That concludes our department directors' reports. Brings us up to the city administrator's report. Mr. Fawcett.
My report pretty much interspersed throughout this meeting tonight. I talked about a lot of things. The only thing I would add is I congratulate all the folks who were elected to city council, and I look forward to working with all of you in the upcoming year.
Thanks, sir. Any questions for Administrator Fawcett?
I'm curious what's going on with the garbage and have you selected a new garbage?
You need to
pickup?
speak up.
Oh,
I can't hear you.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah, a
You.
little light.
Is it right? It's green?
Yeah,
I'm
I
good.
just can't hear you.
What's going on with selecting a new garbage provider or whatever?
So our contract is not up yet with the Republic. And
When does that happen? I thought it was coming up.
it's like, I think in the like June, I think June 30th
Ah.
is the end of it, but we're in the process of finalizing a new bid and we're going to send it out. And if we continue to have problems, we could argue that they've breached the contract, but we are currently finalizing that here in Dayton, and then we're going to send it to Bellevue for their input. And so we're pretty close. I'd say within the next week would be to Bellevue. So I've been working on it this last couple of weeks.
Okay.
It's a really long document. Going to have a lot of different parts to it. We're going to try to offer some services that haven't been offered in the past. So I would say, we'll look at it and determine whether there's a basis to say there's been a breach of contract, because there have been some serious problems with public services in the city. I think everybody knows that. So we'll have to look and see whether we can do an early termination, if that's what we want to do. We'll have to talk to our lawyers about that. If that's legitimate to do. Not at the latest, it would be, I think, the end of June 2025.
Okay.
Any other questions for Administrator Fawcett?
What's the status on the KYTC request to move Route 8 over to Main Street?
They have it, and they're saying they're considering it, and I haven't heard anything back since I got that email from the District 6.
Okay.
So I'll give them a little bit more time, and I'll follow up.
All right, thank you.
Whatever happened with a traffic study on, by Lisa Cleet's house where the,
What's that again?
A while back, we talked about having a traffic study on 6 where Lisa Cleet kept getting her car hit right there because there's a curve in the road. And we were talking about not having a light and instead having a stoplight on Urban Terrace and 6. And
That's the mayor's decision.
Okay.
Decide whether he wants to do that or not, and I don't know what the mayor decided to do.
kind of went away.
I wouldn't say it kind of went away. The conversations I've had with the engineers were that it wouldn't make much of a difference, that we could put a stop sign at every corner if we wanted to, kind of like we could put a firehouse in front of everyone's house and you'll never have a fire, but then you have to pay for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and another thing, there was an accident there yesterday, and I got it on my phone, and I was like, oh man, and I ran to it, and it was because a guy was not paying attention and hit the lady in front of him. But there are accidents on Route 8, but I think they're very light in their occurrences. Unfortunately, Ms. Klett, who's a friend of mine, happens to sit at that bend in the road, which unless you put literally a stop sign there, if you're falling asleep looking at your phone drunk, it's just an unfortunate bend in the road.
I think at that, when she came in, she was talking about that, I don't know, several people were saying that that if you had a stop sign, you were forced to stop and kind of regroup and then go. But if you have the light and you make the light, you've been cruising. So you're kind of like picking up speed and kind of like low
Typically, the traffic's
awareness.
actually coming from this direction, from the west side direction, going east. So you have to put the stop sign down in front of Circle K. I've seen these continually.
Okay.
Not continually, twice it's happened.
I don't know. I thought she got her car hit 3 times or whatever.
Has it been 3?
Yeah.
I've only seen 2.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Foss? Brings us up to audience comments. Audience is welcome to address council, administration. Podium's yours. All right, we'll go ahead and close that out. New business. Do we have any new business?
I'm going to remind people for Light Up Dayton,
That's a great
because
point.
we won't have a meeting again before that. So it's at the second Sunday in December. I think it's the 8th. I couldn't find my phone to look up the calendar. But yeah, so don't forget to come out for Light Up Dayton. There'll be, the Civic Activities Board puts on a very nice event for the children in town. And then also, down at the square for lighting up the, all the decorations that Rick and his team will be putting up.
Did you say second Sunday?
Yeah, the first Sunday is Thanksgiving. I think that actually is the first. And then, so it should be the 8th.
It's Sunday,
break?
December the 8th, starting at 3. Light up.
Everyone bring your children down so they can have a chance to meet Santa and Mrs. Claus. Get a nice gift and just hang out with the city. Amazing tradition we do.
And movie night.
That was on my list, Joe. That in 1992, the Oscars snubbed Airborne as one of the finest movies of the year, right? And so we're going to rectify that by, it was filmed, a couple scenes in Dayton, maybe 1, maybe 2.
I went online. It was filmed on O'Fallon.
Yeah, and Schaefer, you weren't here, were you?
No.
Yeah, the kids and the actors and the stunts guys, they came down to Fallon and they jumped up and on the rollerblade, which is a really, never done the O'Fallon Stallion. I'll tell you, it's a fur piece down. And I was told that the fire department was sitting down there waiting for some broken ankles, and they didn't have any because they were that good of pros. They were snubbed by the Oscars that year. But so we'll be showing that here, I believe here or at the monument, depending on weather, Friday night. So dress up in your 90s gear and come on down. It's going to be tubular. Totally. As if. Any other new business? All right, motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Member Nemus made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
By Member Kelly. All in favor?
Aye.
No, it's member Levens.
Any nays? What?
Member Levens.
Oh, was it? I'm sorry about that. Number 11. Any nays? Any abstentions? Jess, your mic is too far away.
Yeah, my voice real quiet.
Well, have a good evening. See you at next council meeting.
It's been fantastic. It's been great.
I missed the.
Yeah, I love it.
It was Saturday and I didn't go.
I know.